Today, I'm going to be showing you 5 red flags to look for where it's a deal breaker and you want to run and not get hired by the customer. One red flag that you got to look out for is if a customer has a job like this and they want a very nice, beautiful project. This particular job is about $500,000. If they come and they tell you, my budget is $100,000, they're not realistic on what they're getting and they just don't understand. So if they're out of touch with a budget, then that's a super red flag and you want to kind of walk them through. Don't take the estimate too serious because I've done a lot of work where I invest a lot of time with the homeowner and I give them options and this and this and this, but they just don't have the money to pay for it and it ends up being a waste of time. So what I do is just send them a rough estimate right off the bat, spend maybe 15-20 minutes on it, send it to them, always present, always propose, and then you're going to feel out their vibe. If they come back and say, oh, we want to change this, cost engineer, that's okay. But most of the time it's going to be a waste of time. Here's a red flag for you. If the homeowner comes out with a clipboard and he has all these notes and he has like 4 pages of notes and items that he wants done and super meticulous and he's crossing things and he's like interviewing you like you're about to apply for a gun license, that typically in my experience when they're so anal about a project that they have to cross things off like question, usually, typically, 99% of the time, it's going to be an awful job. Do not do it. And when they have a very, very crazy level of attention to detail about little knickknacks, that homeowner's going to be a nightmare. And you're going to want to price that job very high. I always bid on jobs, no matter what. But if I get the vibe that they're going to be very anal about things, I price it, I add 20%, 30%. Because if I do close it for whatever odd chance, because there are some people that are very anal, but they'll still hire you even though you're a highest bidder. I'll take those jobs because then there is a price to pay along with the pain in the back or the booty. So if they come out with a clipboard and they have a whole bunch of list of questions that they want to answer, that's pretty much a red flag. My least favorite red flag is when they do not take suggestions well. They don't listen to you. They always argue and they're always like, oh, I know what I want. I know this is it. And you know it's the wrong way to do it. And they still are pushing you and pressuring and kind of poking the bear. Those are my least favorite customers. And just because they read something online doesn't mean it applies to them. I'll give you an example. We were doing this artificial turf install, and in the contract it says we're going to remove 6 to 8 inches. There was a retaining wall that was going along the side, and it was holding up a lot of dirt. The homeowner was going around with a tape measure, making sure that we excavate 8 inches everywhere. And if we excavated more by the retaining wall would just fall over because there were blocks. So we told her we can only go 3-4 inches here because you're going to make the retaining wall very weak. And she was arguing with us. And I told her, I'm like, look, you don't know what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing. This needs to stay like this. Everywhere else we've excavated 6 to 8 inches. You need to stay in your lane. And I literally tell them like that. I'm like, you need to stay in your lane. If we excavate more and this wall falls, you're going to blame us and we're going to have to fix it. And I don't want to do that. If you want us to excavate and if this wall falls, which it will, I'm going to have to bill you $150 an hour per man until we get it fixed. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And then she walks back inside. Sometimes you got to be a dick. But at the end of the day, you're a professional. You're the one that knows what you're doing. And you got to lay it down sometime. Another red flag is when they take forever to communicate. You send them a text and they don't respond back for 2-3 hours, or you ask them a question and they're like, well, let me go back inside, ask my wife, ask my husband. Typically, it's always, let me ask my wife. Like, bro, just make a decision. Do you want this plant here or here? Like, it's not that hard. Or let me make the decision and you just roll with it. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a customer that was very hands-off. He didn't care. He was busy running his company. He had a multi-$100 million company. And he said, I trust you. I trust Taylor. You guys make decisions for everything. And if it's something major, you can ask me. Perfect job. Smooth. No questions. The job turned out fantastic. And the customer was so easy to work with. And I really love that. But that's a huge red flag is when they are not quick to make decisions and have to talk to their wife about every single little detail. Ugh. My least favorite red flag, this is the one I hate the most, besides them not having money. Well, actually, when they don't have money, it's easy disqualification. But this one is more annoying. They get a design, everything is made, and everything is laid out, and then they start changing things. Oh, I want this paver to go out this way. I want this plant. I want different pergola. I want this. I'm like, why did you get a design made if you're gonna change everything? That thing drives me crazy. So when people do that, it's a huge turnoff. massive. Because the reason you got to design is to stick with it. Now you got to stick with it. If you want to make some revisions, changes, this should happen before the construction process, because the most expensive thing in your guys' business is not gas. It's not Joe Biden. It's not materials at Home Depot. It's labor. And when customers switch up on you last minute on different shit without them paying for it, because of course they're not going to pay for it, right? Why would, Tigran, it's not a big deal. I just want to change it. It is a big deal, because now we just wasted 2 hours. And instead of me going forward 2 hours on the job, now I stop and I have to go back 2 hours. So I literally lost 4 hours. And every single hour on the job site counts. It's very, very expensive. Labor is super expensive. It's the most expensive thing in our business. And if you don't pay attention to the numbers very carefully, you're gonna have to close shop, son, and go work at Walmart. These are the 5 red flags that you must avoid. I'm telling you, I have overlooked these red flags in the beginning. You get a little vibe. You're like, this person is gonna be a problem. But you say, it's okay, I'll do it anyway, and it's gonna turn out fine. Always, always has never turned out fine. Always a problem. And as I'm doing the job, I'm like, right now I have a customer. There were red flags. But I said, I'm pretty good at this. I'm a professional. I know how to handle this now. And I do. I can handle situations way better than before, because I just tell them, no, that's not how we're going to do things. But they just complain about every single little item. It's like a broken record. This and this and this. I'm like, you guys are engineers. Please focus on your own business. Let me take care of this. If the little piece of wood is missing on your pergola, it's not a big deal. It's okay. So those are the red flags. Don't negotiate. But if you need the work, I can't tell you to not take the job. It is what it is. You're gonna have to make that decision yourself. If you agreed with my red flags, drop in the comments. Maybe I missed some. Maybe they went over my head. But I wanna know some of the red flags you look for when you go to customers. And maybe you don't even look for red flags. Maybe you're just naive Nancy and you're like, I'll take anything, let's do it. Everyone's a nice person. Maybe that's you, I don't know. That's not me though. I discriminate. What? When people are mean and when people nitpick and when people are always in my business, I'm like, I don't want to work with this person. Next. Also, you already know the drill. Hit the subscribe button, and then you'll see a bunch more of my videos, and maybe we can become best friends.